Senator Markwayne Mullin. Senator, you were good friends with Charlie Kirk. We are so deeply sorry for what happened, and our hearts are breaking here at the Evening Edit at Fox Business and Fox News. Senator, can you talk to us about your friendship with Charlie Kirk?
Well, I don't know if I can do that right now. Charlie was not just a friend to me, but he's a friend of my family too. I mean, the guy, he didn't make laws. This wasn't the guy that was out there touting hatred rhetoric. He wasn't a guy that was out there trying to change the Constitution to suppress the views of others. This is a guy that literally went to campuses and gave an opportunity for those with an opposing view to speak their mind and debate him. And he didn't belittle them. He didn't make them feel less than a person. He respected everybody. He said it with a loving voice. He talked about his love for the Lord, his Christian beliefs, and he actually brought more laughter and joy to these campuses. And yet, because of his Christian values, because of his traditional values, some crazy individual decided to silence his voice and steal it from all of us, and take someone's husband away and take someone's father away. And why? For what? Did he threaten you because he believed in the Lord, because he believed in traditional values, because he could debate the Constitution and debate political or biblical scriptures? Was that a threat to you? And yet some of these individuals that are acting out on the violence, some of these crazy, and I'm not saying Democrats, I'm saying the crazy extreme left here, they're the ones that sometimes said they felt threatened by Donald Trump because of his views, or by Charlie Kirk, but they're not the ones. Christians aren't the ones out there shooting up schools. Christians aren't the ones out there shooting up churches, and Christians certainly aren't the ones trying to assassinate those with opposing views. This has went too far. And at what point do we reset? Every single, and I'm not trying to make this political, I'm being very serious. The left has stirred up their base with so much hatred rhetoric. And they have been feeding this and saying that Republicans are a threat to democracy, that Christian values somehow are a threat. I mean, this last shooting, church shooting / school shooting, they said prayer isn't enough. Well, prayer is enough. I believe in prayer. When we have no other place to go, we fall on our knees and ask the Heavenly Father for help. Because right now, I can assure you that's what I'm doing for his family. And I can assure you that's what my wife is doing for his family, is we're kneeling and believing in prayer. And for some reason, that's a threat to others. Every Democrat that has called for violence and has stirred up their base with rhetoric, hatred, tone. Let's start with Maxine Waters. Let's start with Hakeem Jeffries. Let's start with Chuck Schumer. Let's start with Nancy Pelosi. And let's start with Adam Schiff. Let's start with Eric Swalwell. We can go down the list of individuals that have literally called for violence on the street and called for blood to be spilled on the streets. These individuals right now should be going forward and apologizing and telling their base to stand down. Otherwise, this is going to continue. And they own the responsibility of the behavior of their base right now.
So, given what you just said, are you talking to other Republican lawmakers exactly what you just said to do something about this?
Well, what law can you make? You can't legislate morality. You can't do that. Now, you can silence their voices and keep them from speaking on the floor. You can remove them from their committees. Well, actually, Republicans can't remove them. They got to remove them. Their own party's got to remove them from the committee. But you can't legislate morality. That's where Christian values have been so unique in the United States, because morality was the fabric of this country that held us together. It's the moral fabric that held our Constitution and held our Bill of Rights together. It's what held our beliefs together. We could agree adamantly against each other, but that doesn't mean we got to resort to violence. That just means that we can simply agree to disagree if we have to. But speaking to my colleagues that are Democrats, my colleagues that are friends, they should be calling on their colleagues that have been spewing this hatred rhetoric and telling them enough is enough. And by the way, for anyone that on the Republican Party that has been doing it, I will tell you right now, enough is enough. It is time to bring down the temperature of this country and have open debates, believe in our Constitution, and believe in the freedom of speech, but we don't have to resort to the type of violence we're seeing right now.
Let's speak about this. You can imagine our founding fathers would say this is a national disgrace. You can imagine that all of our good soldiers who fought and sacrificed so much for our country, including their families, would say, this is not what we fought for. This is not what we stood up for. You have fought for our country. What would you say to Democrats in that vein, that our soldiers did not fight for America's freedom to have a voice to be assassinated and taken out?
Our men and women, brave men and women that put on the uniform and literally paused their life to serve this great nation and swear to uphold the Constitution, they fought for our rights to have open debate. But they did not fight for the rights of those to go out to kill others. That did not take place. That was not what our men and women today and in the past fought for. And our founding fathers, they would be ashamed of the behavior that we've had. Now, we've had difficulties here, but people will say, well, what happened during the Civil War? I understand we've had difficulties, but every time we hit a hard spot, we were able to reset as a country and bring down the temperature and learn from our past. Well, this has been going on way too long. This temperature has been continuing to rise. Both sides, I'm not saying from the Democrats, Republicans are as guilty as this too, to some degree, but it has lately, the violence has been coming from the left. It's time for us to set and reevaluate where we've come from and how do we reset as a country and say we are the beacon light on the shining hill above the rest of the world that's looking upon us. We are somebody that the rest of the world can look to for democracy and how a true republic can work. We're that country, and were we setting that example? I mean, you can say that we're the father of democracy if you want to go that far. Well, as a father, my behavior directly reflects my children that's watching me, and I understand that well, especially with 6 kids. Well, we as a republic, as the democracy that everybody else looks to, is this a behavior we want to set for the rest of the world? No, absolutely not. And so we all have a responsibility here. Every one of us have a responsibility to take a time to reevaluate what just took place and say, how can we do this better?
Senator Markwayne Mullin from Senate Armed Services, thank you so much. We appreciate you, sir, for joining us tonight on this horrific news, a national disgrace, a day of mourning.